Normally Ken does the opening remarks. He had a last minute change where they had a parks meeting related to city council, so part of the Longview City Council business, he needs to attend that. So he told me I'm on my own tonight. I got a nice volunteer for our timing here. Rick Von Rock is going to do timing. So just for our debate candidates here, so you can see, he has some cards that'll hold up, tell you how much time you have left as we go through. I'll explain the process when I go through the rules a little bit. We'll go ahead and go through that. We held a coin flip at the beginning. The coin toss was won by Gary Archer. He chose to go last for closing. Kim Lefebvre chose to go second for opening. So we will follow that order. At the opening, they'll both have 3 minutes for opening statements, and then we'll start into questions. We'll begin in the same order, and then as the questions alternate, we'll alternate who goes first on the questions. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to answer the question, and then they have up to 2 minutes for additional comments or rebuttal to the opposite candidate's views or points. You do not need to use the full time if you choose. We go through more questions, but feel free to use as much time as we want. We've designed these to try and get as much information from the candidates to the public as we can, and it's your chance to kind of explain your view going through all of this. We explained the timekeeper. We do have cards in the back of the room on the table back there. There's a few up over here too. If you'd like to submit a question, you can submit a question. A little bit of a comment on that. I have a strict policy. If you're making a political statement with your question, it probably isn't going to get asked. Nice thing is, after this many city council debates, we have plenty of questions from citizens of Kelso that we can go through as well as going through that. But be sure to go ahead. If you have questions, go ahead and submit them. Normally they would go to Ken. Do you want to take them for the first part of it? Bring them up to Kevin Hunter, is that correct? And drop your question to him and he'll bring it up here to me. With that, let's begin with our opening statement, which will be Gary Archer.
Mark, you might mention the position.
This is City of Kelso Council position number 3 that we're running for tonight. Thank you for that reminder. With that, Mr. Archer.
Hi everyone, my name is Gary Archer. I live at 2802 Melrose Lane in Kelso. Married to the same woman for 49 years. And she hasn't killed me yet, so I think I got a chance. Kelso has been my home for about 25 years. And I've been on the council previous times, and I like it, and I miss it. And Kelso is a town that can grow. We're on I-5. We need to use I-5 to help the city of Kelso grow so our residents don't get burdened with a lot of taxes and stuff. I'm also a Vietnam vet, so I care a lot about the veterans. I work with the veterans every chance I get. And what needs to be done, our streets are going downhill. It's like every other city around. Our streets, we got a lot of streets in town that we don't have a lot of sidewalks some places. Some of the rain doesn't even go into the gutters anymore, and it's hard because if you're senior citizen, if you're waiting for a bus or something, it's hard to get to where you're going to go in Kelso sometimes. So we have to correct that, and we have to correct. There's a few things we have to correct. Like there's a lot of traffic and getting more and more traffic, so we have to slow it down, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done, and I think I can help do it.
Thank you. Kim Lefebvre.
Growing up in Kelso and living there my adult life, minus 1 year, has given me the greatest sense of community. I have always tried to be involved in our amazing community through various volunteer opportunities and through the Kelso City Council, which I've been on off and on for 6 years. I look forward to the future and how we can grow and prosper. I would like to see more jobs, economic growth, and more family-friendly activities and opportunities for us to come together as a community. I would love to see the roads be improved. Kelso's finally starting to become with a little more money to where the roads can be improved. And I would just like to work together with the rest of the city council to improve Kelso. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll start in with our first question. This will go first to Mr. Archer. Describe your position on the use and sale of fireworks in the city of Kelso.
Oh boy. I believe we have a right to sell and use fireworks. When we use the word ban, you lose me altogether. If you want to take the time limit down a little bit, and the sales, I'm kind of for that, because being a veteran, I've seen the people that, well, they got PTSD or shell shock, whatever you want to call it. I've been talking to people, and a truck will backfire and they hit the dirt, you know, and it's just scary to some people. And the pets, the pets go nuts. It just, my dogs doesn't bother me. My cat, I noticed, went nuts the last 4th of July, running through the house and stuff like that. Didn't bother my dog, they just slept all the way through it. But it's getting worse and worse. I mean, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You don't need to be banging away mortar shells. And if we take and we put a ban on it, who's going to enforce the ban? Who's going to say, well, my kids were doing it, is the parents going to be responsible or what? So I'm not in favor of a ban. Shortening the time limits up, I'll work on that. But if we do that, it has to have teeth. When I mean teeth, we have to have some punishment to go along with the crime. It's just not, well, here, the kids are just being out of control and we'll just let them go. That's not going to work. The parents have to be responsible, or the kids have to take responsibility for what they're doing, or whoever's doing it at 3 or 4 in the morning. They have to be responsible for what they're doing. But the next question is, how do you catch them? Do you go by what the neighbor says? Well, by the time the police get there, everything's gone. I mean, you take a sparkler and it doesn't make a boom, but if somebody wants to complain about that because of fire danger, by the time they get there, the sparkler's out, and the whole thing's, who do you do then? The police have to take questions here, questions there. We have to sit down with our local police and figure out what the punishment's going to be and who's responsible for it, and we just can't have neighbors fighting with one another all the time, so we have to have some teeth to the law.
Thank you. Ms. Lefebvre, same question.
I believe it should be a statewide or a countywide, that they should shorten maybe the time of the fireworks. But I don't believe it should just be one city in a county. I feel that it has to be a countywide thing or a statewide thing. If we shorten the length of fireworks in the Kelso city, people will just go to Longview and buy it. So it's going to take away from our people, like our cheerleaders that sell the fireworks and things. So I feel that if we do it a countywide or a statewide, I feel it would be better for us.
Thank you. Additional comments or rebuttal?
Yeah, this is Kelso, not the county. Kelso needs to decide what they're going to do inside their city limits. I don't like the county coming in and tell us what we're going to have to do, because that never works to me. And another thing is, the charities, sure, they make money, but the charities will still make money. They can still sell their fireworks. Nobody's saying they can't sell their fireworks. We're just going to put a different time frame on it. Maybe. All these are just blowing in the wind right now, okay? There's nothing written in stone on this. But they still make that same amount of money probably, because the fireworks sales have actually gone down a little bit because they're getting too expensive to do, and nobody can waste the money on them. It's just getting to be too expensive. A lot of people can't afford fireworks and clothes for the kids, so they have to limit what they can get. So I still believe we need some kind of restrictions on it to help the veterans and the pets.
Thank you. Ms. Lefebvre, any additional words or rebuttal?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to the next question. This will go first to Kim Lefebvre. Describe your views on homeless shelters in Kelso, including where they should be located and the types of shelters that should be allowed.
I don't think that we need shelters that enable homelessness. I think we need shelters that promote personal growth. I don't believe that the shelters should be inside the city limits. And if we do have one, it shouldn't be a low barrier, because I don't feel that we should have the drugs that like Love Overwhelming brought to our city. So I think until we get a grip on the drug situation, that our homelessness is only going to get worse. I really feel that they need to work on the drug addiction and then start working on the homelessness, give people some living wage jobs in our area. We really need to work on economic growth. So.
All right, thank you. Same question, Mr. Archer?
I've gotten so much trouble over this homeless over the past couple of years. I know the homeless situation is some places is out of control, but since LO left, you can walk in Kelso now, and you don't get, confronted or propositioned because they're not there anymore. The homeless should be, if they want help, we'll help them. If they can come up to me and I'll help them. We can talk to CAP, we can go to Longview Housing, we can go to the veterans, got a good thing for housing, and it's just, if they want help, they'll come and get us. But we can't go out and talk to every homeless out there. We try, but it's not going to work, because we'll put them in a home and 6 months later they'll be right back under the bridge, because that's what they want to do. That's where they live. That is their life. Our Legion had a thing over there, and we gave away different not communities, but different stores and mercantiles gave away backpacks, sleeping bags, blankets, and we had dentists there, we had haircuts, we had food. Anything they wanted was there, and they could sign up for help. Very few of them signed up for the long-term care and the help, but most of them took all the free stuff, and then we found it in the streets, we found it in the river out here underneath the bridge. So these people, they need help, but how do you help somebody that doesn't want to help themselves? The drug addiction is only part of the answer. Okay, so you stop them from being drugged. That's not going to put them in a house. We don't have low-income housing in this town. I mean, it's skyrocketing. So that has to be looked. And if it's going to be homeless, I'd like to do like the Broadway one over here does. If you come in drunk or high, you're out. I mean, we don't need that. We need the kids. We need to help the kids, send the kids to school. But some of the adults, I hate to say it, but there's no help with them. I've seen that firsthand. You cannot help somebody that does not want to be helped. You can ask them for help. You can take them and drop them off at the health center, take them in and do all that stuff, and they'll go in. And then 2 months later, you'll find them right back where they are. They've got newer clothes, they've got haircuts, their teeth are fixed, but they're right back where they started from, because that's the life they want to live. So I don't know how you help them.
Okay. Additional comments or rebuttal?
I think there's opportunity out there to help the homeless. It takes the community. We all have to work together. We have to work together with the police, with mental health. There are a lot of services that need to be beefed up to help these people. There's mothers out there with children, and I don't believe that they want to be out there and staying out there. I believe that they want better for their children than what they have. So I think that we need to come together as a community and help these people.
Thank you. Any additional comments?
Yeah, I've had rentals in Castle Rock, Kalama, and Kelso. And I've rented to homeless people with families. I gave them all a shot. I gave each one of my houses and my duplexes, I gave One time, I tried to help one person every time, and it didn't work because they don't know how to take care of stuff. They tear stuff up. But if you help them, they don't seem to enjoy the help or realize that you're helping them. And I've done this. This is my personal knowledge, and it's cost me out of my own pocket to try to help some of these people. And I've helped a few. A few are actually buying houses now because I help them get them jobs and stuff like that. But if someone doesn't want to help, there's no way to help them, because if I give them a break on the rent, put a roof over their head because their kids are starting school, which I did a couple times, I'm the one that had to pay. It cost me, well, it costs a lot to evict somebody nowadays, and it still didn't get the job done.
Thank you. Next question will be directed first at Mr. Archer. Would you support a 3-year plan to improve the senior center, which would require council approval for projects whose cost did not exceed $15,000 annually?
Yes. When I was on the council before, we authorized the alarm system for it. And the council center, senior center is a valuable asset to Kelso because different people use it, and the park's there. I don't know what the future of the park's going to be. That's up in arms right now. But the Kelso Senior Center is not only for seniors. There's different organizations meet there. Out-of-town organizations come in, and I understand they're looking for air conditioning now. And when I was there a couple months ago for a meeting, they needed an air conditioner in that thing bad, because we had a pretty hot summer. And that's an older building, so it's in good shape. We need to keep it because the seniors need a place to go, and I think I'm a senior now, 67. I think I'm a senior. So I might need a place to go sometime, and I want a nice place to go. I've been in different senior centers, like in Alaska and over here in Longview and down in California, and they've all got different things going for them. And there's the people in there, they dance, they sit down, they play cards and do whatever you want to do. But I think it needs to be updated a little bit and just a little bit better taken care of, which is not saying that they're not trying now, but I think we can afford to give them a little bit more money to help them out.
Thank you. Same question, Ms. Lefebvre. Would you like me to read it? Or?
Just came before council that they are looking for an air conditioner, and we have asked them to send us some bids so that we can approve it for them. They just got a new snow cone machine over there, so that's great. And the park system just got a bunch of grants and personal people giving money for them to do a lot of work on the park. They had a ice cream social over there that explained everything, and all of us got together and we got to pick out the design of the park. So the park's future is great, and the Senior Citizen Center is going to get the work done that it needs done. And yes, the city council should help pay for that.
Thank you. Additional comments or rebuttal? Yes, I need. All right. Next question, even numbered question. We'll go to Kim Lefebvre first. Do you have a plan you want to work on for helping Kelso businesses grow?
Maybe some tax cuts might help bring businesses into our city. We really need to have some economical growth. Anchor Point would be great to watch that develop. The Sigali property out there would be great to watch that develop into Kelso so that our mall will get better. It's just going to take some economic growth. And I'm willing to talk to whoever wants to bring some business into Kelso.
Okay. Same question, Mr. Archer?
Well, like I mentioned before, we've got the I-5 corridor, and there's 60,000 cars go by there a day or more. And if we could just get a third of those to pull off and spend some money, we could actually do all this stuff. And Anchor Point is so far in the future, and it's going to be so expensive. I don't know if I'll ever see that, because it's going to cost millions and millions, and I don't want to see somebody come in and then go broke and then have it be it, because it's going to take a lot of money. And the Scully property, we've been talking about that for 10 years. I don't know if it's ever going to go anyplace either. But I-5, we've got other properties on I-5 that are doing it, and off of coming off of exit 36, there's new businesses going in there, and we can take it off of here by Allen Street. There's places. There's one going in there, and I don't know about the mall either. It's malls nowadays where Penny's is there, and Sportsman's Warehouse, and now the movie theater, and the Planet Fitness. And there's one restaurant inside that thing. I think we need to get maybe a couple little more restaurants inside that thing to bring some more people in. I went in there the other day looking for some shoes, and there was hardly anybody there. Even the kids weren't hanging around at the mall nowadays. So we do need economic growth. I agree with that 100%. But I don't know, the yogurt shop, they went over there on Allen Street. That's a good example. They were going crazy. I mean, there was people lined up out the door all the time. But they mismanagement and it went broke. So I don't want something coming in that's going to be mismanaged and then broke 6 months later, because that thing is still sitting there empty, and I just don't think that's good for the town to see a bunch of empty buildings. Once you build a new building, if it's not occupied, then don't build any new buildings till we get it occupied.
Thank you. Additional comments or rebuttal?
I guess I just have a positive attitude when it comes to Kelso. I see into the future that great things are going to happen for Kelso, and I'm a firm believer that the mall's going to get back up there and everything is going to start to work together, and Kelso will do better.
Thank you. Mr. Archer, any additional comments?
Well, I'm leaving Kelso too. That's why I live here. And that's why I have rental property, and my home's here, and my friends are here. But I'm just being, I guess, a realist, that some of this stuff isn't going to happen right now. It's in the future. And the malls across the United States are, if we're going to depend on the malls, then the malls are going, they're going to the wayside. It's not like they used to be.
Thank you. Next question will go first to Mr. Archer. What about teens? We have senior centers in both Kelso and Longview, but what do we have for teens?
What do we have for teens? We've got the skate park. They could use that. Most teens, we've got the fishing, we've got the hunting, we've got the rivers. They can use those. There's a few parks they can use at certain times of day. The teens nowadays, they don't want to do, well, like what we did when we were younger. We went outside and played. Well, we didn't have phones we could play with, or 100 channels on TV, or Xboxes, or whatever they call them. I don't even know how to use one of them things. But the teens they're doing what they want to do, and we're not going to change them. I think that what we need for the teens is an apprentice program to teach them plumbing, electricity, and stuff like that, so they can take care of themselves, and when they buy a house, they can help take care of their house or help somebody else take care of their house. And that puts pride back in them, and they can do it, and it gets them off the couch and whatever else they're doing.
Thank you. Ms. Lefebvre?
Well, the Kelso Library has a really good teen program. Cindy Donaldson over there really works with the teens on giving them free pizza on Friday nights to come over, and they have some really good programs over there. I think we need more activities for the teens in Kelso. A teen center or maybe even a teen night somewhere in one of the organizations in Kelso would be great for teens. They really need to get out and do things.
Thank you. Mr. Archer, rebuttal or additional comments?
Well, I kind of agree with that, but on the teen centers, there again, you have to have somebody has to police all these things. Who's going to police all these new things? Teen centers, they're good to get the teens out there for a couple hours, but what happens when that's not open? What do they do? I mean, it's just, when the movie closes, there's no place to go. They got to go home. So they're right back where they started from. But if you teach them how to work with their hands and use their minds a little bit, they can do stuff at home and make stuff and help other people. And I think they'd be better off if we did something like that besides the teen center.
Thank you. Additional comments or?
Well, I think that would be a Kelso School District thing to start working with them at Kelso schools and try to get some technical programs in the schools.
Okay. Next question is an even numbered question. It'll go first to Ms. Lefebvre. Do you feel that collaboration between the City of Kelso and other public agencies within the county needs to be strengthened? If so, how would you bring that about?
I think, like with the Kelso Airport, we work together with the port, the City of Longview, and the county. We all work together there. So I think we really have a strong connection with the county and with Kelso being in those programs.
Okay. Same question, Mr. Archer?
Their county commissioners are in their own world up there as far as I'm concerned. They're spending money where they shouldn't be spending money, and Kelso, we're doing good. I mean, we're paying the bills and everybody's satisfied as far as that goes. But we don't have a lot of money to put into something that the county deems that we need, because the county goes all the way to Woodland and Castle Rock and all that, and everything in between. So we can't afford all this. Everything that's going on, we can't afford it. And what we have right now is the Big Idea Board, which I'm still on. They give, $65,000 per town, and they get to do what they want with it. I mean, within boundaries, they can use it for advertising, they could use it to put sidewalks and stuff like that in. Castle Rock built a visitor center. Kelso is going to put signage in. Woodland, they're using it for their park stuff down there. And that helps, but we can't afford a whole bunch, to be quite honest, we can't afford a whole bunch of money to give every little nook and cranny cleaning that needs to be cleaned. I mean, some things have to be done on a time basis, not just what the county says. The City of Kelso has to decide if they can afford it before we go along with anything else.
Okay. Additional comments or rebuttal?
That's one thing that's really nice about our council is that we really work hard to get things forward. So, and we don't rely a lot on the county for their money or Longview for money. So, I don't see where we would be putting money into things that really wouldn't go anywhere.
Okay. Any final thoughts, sir? Next question. Go first to Mr. Archer. What is the biggest infrastructure needs you see in Kelso? How should those needs be met?
Keep up the roads. Anybody been down Chestnut Street lately? That part of town the south part of town is in dire need of sidewalks. The rain gutters aren't pushing the rain the way they should be. the rain, the water's backing up under people's houses, and it's a mess when it rains real hard. It just can't take it. They're doing a little bit. They're redoing some sewer lines, water lines, and they're redoing a lot of stuff. But they're not we have to get down to the main thing. The infrastructure, the streets have to be done, and then there again, it has to be paid for. So you have to prioritize what you're going to do. And when I was on the council, we put a $20 car tap on. So that's partly my fault if nobody likes it, but it's working. And there's talk about raising that, and I don't know if I'm for that yet, but a couple of other people told me they would go for it. If it's put for one thing that we can help the infrastructure a little bit, then people actually would do it. And I think our roads are the main thing, and not just the main arteries. It's the side roads. It's where you go back around where most of the people live back in there that are in the need. Allen Street they repaved it a couple of years ago, and there's some spots that need to do it again. So that's what we need to do. We need a bigger road crew and find a way to pay for all that stuff.
Same question, Ms. Lefebvre, you want to repeat it? Or?
I think we really need to put in for a lot of grants to get our roads working. I know U Street looks beautiful now. If you get a chance to drive down U Street, it's beautiful. We're working on Minor Road right now, and it will be done soon. Then we're going to go into the West Kelso realignment, and that will be done. And those are all grants that were paid for by the state for us to be able to get these streets done. So Kelso hasn't had to put a whole lot of money into it yet, but we're going to be, because those streets definitely need help.
Thank you. Mr. Archer, additional comments or rebuttal?
Grants are nice, but you can't always rely on a grant. If you don't have enough money to back up a grant, you're not going to get a grant. So you have to put some money in reserve to get a grant, because you have to have matching funds for a lot of these grants. I know U Street is a nice project. Minor Road needed it. But what about the stuff in between? And it's not getting it. Mill got it. Allen Street got it. Grade Street got it. But anything out of there hasn't gotten touched. They patched the hole on Chestnut. They came in and they hired a contractor. It was the whole road, middle of the road, just sunk down in. There was a broken pipe or something down there. And they put it in, and it's worse now than it ever was. And and nobody's ever been back to fix it. So stuff like that needs to be done before we can go. I mean, all these other places are nice. They're nice and going. But we really have to look at parts of South Kelso that have been overlooked for a long time.
Thank you. Ms. Lefebvre?
I agree 100%.
Okay. Let's use a question from a previous debate here. This will go first to Ms. Lefebvre. Would you support development at Anchor Point if the tenant was a methanol plant, a petroleum refinery, a coal terminal?
Yes, I would. And my reasoning is that we need jobs. We need economic growth. And we need those jobs to take care of our people, to build our schools better. And it's just a trickle-down effect. Once you get those jobs going, everything else comes together.
Okay. Same question, Mr. Archer?
Yeah, I don't know about the oil refineries. I know nothing about those. But I was down, when I was on the council, I got sent to, they sent me all expense trip to Wyoming down there at the coal mines. And the coal is just as clean as could be. I would be very happy with the coal terminal down there, because I've seen what they can do with coal, and they can make it clean. And it's not like you see on TV where they go into tunnels and stuff. This is open pit mining. The coal's cleaned up, it's washed, it's coated, and all this other stuff. before it's even shipped out. So it's a clean energy source. The methanol, that's what you said, methanol?
Yeah, it was methanol plant,
Yeah.
petroleum refinery, or coal terminal.
I think Klamath's gonna get that, aren't they? So we don't have to worry, I don't think they're gonna have two that close together. But I wouldn't mind a methanol plant if it was done right, because they're family wage jobs. Most of them are family wage. You just can't walk off the street and get it. You have to know what you're doing, and they're very good paying jobs, so I would be in favor of it.
Thank you. Additional comments or rebuttal? Any additional time?
No.
All right. See, a odd-numbered question. One of the ones that came in here. This will go first to Mr. Archer. Would you support changing state law and allowing cities to regulate rents on senior citizen-specific housing and manufactured home facilities?
State law?
I didn't-
That's,
Not my question, so I don't know.
well, I can put it to you this way. I don't believe that seniors are getting enough breaks in this town as it is. Rent is high. I know that from my real estate profession. Rents are high in this town. Rent, some apartments you're going for, if they're 700 to 800 square feet, they're getting $1,000 a month in some places, and that's just totally ridiculous. Nobody can afford that on a fixed income. And most of our seniors, they need a place to live. We've got, Kelso's a nice place for seniors. This whole area is a nice place for seniors. They got everything they want. We need a better transportation for the seniors, and lower housing, but I don't know about the state. I don't want Kelso to raise the rates on seniors. I think they deserve a break. They've worked hard to get to be a senior, and I'm going to get to be a senior one of these days, and I don't want to be priced out of a house. So, but the state, that's a whole different ballgame. I would fight against it if I could. I'll voice my opinion against it, but how do you convince them that that's what you have to do? It's just not, I don't know how to explain it, but they do what they want up there. When they want to do it and who they do it to.
Same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes.
Because it was a little. Would you support changing state law and allowing cities to regulate rents on senior citizen-specific housing and manufactured home facilities?
No. No, I wouldn't, because our senior citizens need to be taken care of. They need a lower rent. And I suppose if the state came in and lowered the rent, then yes, I would vote for it. If they regulated it and made it low so that they could live on it. My mom lived on a very low income, and so I would want them to regulate it in a low.
Okay. Additional comments or?
I've got a renter right now that's a senior citizen, and I've got them way below market value because they're good renters. They pay, they keep the house clean, they're not big partiers, and they don't smoke, they don't drink very much. But the seniors are getting a rough deal nowadays, and I realize that because you see it every day. It just, prices are going up, everything's going up, the rent goes up, and the seniors' income doesn't go up if they're on a fixed income. Chances are their income's not going to go up to match the increase in everything else.
Additional comments or rebuttal? Even numbered question will go first to Kim Lefebvre. What can we do to further promote the airport in Kelso?
I think we're working very hard on it right now. We've really made some drastic changes up there. We hired a manager, and I think he's going to really start promoting the airport up there. I'd love to see some air shows, some community activities out there, so that it brings the community over there, when my girls were little, they used to go to the airport shows over there. Both of them got to ride in an airplane for free, something they never did in their lifetime. I would like to see more of that out there.
Thank you. Same question. Mr. Archer?
To be quite honest, when I first got on the council a few years back, I was against the airport. Because I don't know very many people that own planes. And I got to talking to some people, like from J.H. Kelly and the car lots around here. And they actually need the airport to do their business because they've got car lots in different parts of the country. And J.H. Kelly goes all over the United States and probably half the world. And they've got bigger planes they can bring in if we expand the runway a little bit. They can bring in bigger planes, and they'll stay here. But if they can't do it, they'll expand someplace else. And they love it here. I mean, you talk to everybody there, they like it here. And if they can bring a bigger plane in or two, that would be nice. And there was talk a few years back, I don't know if it's still going on or not, to be honest, about a hub here to go to Portland and then one over to Olympia and Seattle. That would bring in more paying jobs too, and people would just take the hub to the airport and they wouldn't have to take a taxi or something. And then they could go to Seattle, which is sometimes a heck of a drive if you're going to go over there. They could hop on that plane and just be there, nothing flat, and miss all that traffic. So I think the airport needs to be expanded a little bit. And then maybe we can reopen that restaurant over there like it used to be years ago. That was a nice little restaurant in there. And just keep it going. But we need to expand it, keep it going, get more planes coming in, and the key to it is extending the runway to get bigger planes in so they can land and take off.
Thank you. Additional comments or rebuttal? So let's see. Question 11 will go first to Mr. Archer. What help do you feel there is for the mentally ill homeless?
Mentally ill homeless? Wow. First of all, who decides if they're mentally ill? I'm not in a position to say if they're mentally ill or not. If they're homeless, I can tell if they're homeless. But if they're mentally ill, that's above my pay grade. There's places around, I don't know, the St. John's has got a mental facility over there. I don't know how good it is. I've never used it, to tell you the truth. I don't know. The doctors, I guess we send them to a doctor and they could tell you what the problem was or something. But I can't tell you what mental illness is because, quite frankly, I don't know. If I say somebody's crazy, that doesn't mean they're mentally ill. A lot of people say I'm nuts, so I don't know where, it's, I don't know how you tell that. I'm not, that's above my pay grade.
Well, I think it's going to take the community. We need to work together as a community. We need more funding. We need more counselors. And we need some really good mental health workers in our community to help with this because it is a problem. And they need to have housing and there needs to be funding available to get this housing for the mentally ill and work with them, get them on their medications. And I really think it's a big problem that really needs the community to come together and help.
Okay. Additional comments or rebuttal?
Yeah, I agree it's a problem. Homelessness is a problem. But having somebody declared mentally ill, I don't know how you can say, well, I can't, like I said, I can't say that somebody's mentally ill. If we need counselors and stuff, we have counselors now. Then if you're going to get more counselors, then you have to worry about where's the funding going to come? Is the funding going to run out? If you get a bunch of people in there to look at it. is the funding, how long is the funding? How long is the grant you're gonna get? Because that's what it's gonna take. It's gonna take a grant from the state to do all this stuff. And then when the grant wears out, where do you go? What do we do with the homeless that we've got, that we've declared mentally ill? What happens to those people then? So we have to look out for those people, but we have to look out for the rest of the citizens of Kelso and all things. We don't want to turn them loose in the streets again like it was before.
Thank you. Additional comments or rebuttal?
Mr. Archer, we already turned them loose. We already cut all the funding for the mentally ill. We have took it down to the lowest. We need to build it back up. We need to get in there, and we need to get mental health for a lot of mental health.
Thank you. Question 12 will go first to Ms. Lefebvre. City operating budgets involve a variety of funds, many of them dedicated to a specific purpose, together with the competing interests of many departments. In your view, what should be the highest priorities in the City of Kelso budgeting?
Roads and the police department. You need a strong police department, which we have, and we need the roads repaired, and we need to work together on more economic growth.
Thank you. Same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
Infrastructure. Kelso needs, we've got parts of Kelso that are still in septic and well. And there's no sewer line in sight. There's no water line in sight. We need to start looking at these areas and identifying them and figure out how we're going to get that there, because like for example, I'm the last house on the southern, off of Old Pacific Highway. I'm the last house on the city limit. I'm still on well and septic. There's a lot of places in between that are still on well and septic that we could actually grow, build houses, or somebody could come in and put, I don't know, storage places or something like that, but there's no water or sewer out there. And nowadays you need water and sewer, because septics, or the EPA is just going to go nuts on septics here in the next couple of years. And the water systems, they're going to go nuts on the well. They're starting to do that already. So if you're going to drill a new well, it's going to be expensive, and it's going to drive up the cost of building. So then your infrastructure is going to suffer because you're not going to have any growth. And without growth, you don't have the infrastructure that you need. And grants and stuff are nice, but grants run out eventually. And you have to have the money to match the grants. And you can't take this money to match this grant and then this money to match this grant. You just can't do that all the time. You have to have some in reserve to run the city. And if we don't have the infrastructure, we're going to be more or less where we're at today, unless we can build the infrastructure a little better.
Okay, thank you.
So our little islands that are inside our city, the city council has been talking about it lately, and that was the annexation. So you would be for the annexation of these little islands to stop the sewer problems and those kind of things, the wells and stuff. We've been working on trying to incorporate these little islands so that we can get out there and put new sewers and things out there. But a lot of the community doesn't want the annexation.
I'm not talking about annexation. I am in the city limits. My neighbors are in the city limits. The neighbors across from them are in the city limits. There's 3 miles up on that hill that are in the city limits that are on water, that don't have any water or sewer. I know if people want to annex in the city, that's great. That means more tax base and stuff like that. But I'm not talking about annexation. I'm talking about the existing property we have inside the city limits now that are on well and septic. And it's going to be very expensive. I know that. I'm not naive enough to realize that it's not going to be expensive. But we have to start funding this in a way that'll, in the future, we can start doing this. And that way, Kelso will expand, our infrastructure will expand, more jobs will come in, more people will come into town.
Okay, thank you. We'll move now to closing statements. First up for closing statements, Ms. Lefebvre.
I am the person that will always push for better jobs, better roads, better parks, better schools. I have always believed in growth, personal and otherwise. I truly believe this is one of the best communities in the world. I live here, I've raised my family here, my children are starting to raise their families here. We've all graduated from Kelso High, 5 generations. So I put forth that I will do the best for Kelso and I will bring Kelso into the future.
Thank you. Mr. Archer, closing statement.
Like I said, I've been in Kelso for a few years now. And I love this little town. It's a great town. We got one of the best police forces in the whole state as far as I'm concerned. And it's getting better and it's staying that way. It's not getting worse or better. We're doing such a good job in that area that we have to keep funding the police force. We have to take care of our infrastructure. And Kelso is in the middle of Castle Rock, Woodland, and Battleground, and then Portland's not too far away. Kelso is the only place that people are coming to buy houses because they can still afford them in Kelso. So if we don't start fixing stuff up, they're going to start going someplace else. And you can't buy a house under $200,000 in Battleground or Woodland or, heaven forbid, Portland. Kelso, you still can, and it's a nice house. And if you start selling these houses to these people, get them in here, then they own the house. It's not a rental property no more. It's a house that these people are going to raise their families there. They're going to raise their families there. And their kids are going to grow up there. They're going to go to our school. They're going to pay taxes and all this other stuff. But if we don't do that, if we just, in our little area here, we don't look outside our area, we're not going to go any place. When I was on the council, I went to the AWC meetings all the time. I mean, the conferences, you eat this $40 dried up old chicken and listen to somebody talk. But you get to learn what these other people are doing. And you find out they've got the same problems. They might not be as big as ours. Some are going to be bigger. Some are going to be smaller. But they've all got different ways to do it. And you learn from that. And if you don't want to do that, then we got to get outside our little area here and find out what the rest of the world's doing. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you all for attending this evening. I see Ken made it back from his meeting. He's back in the back over there. Good to have you back. Appreciate media coverage. We have video with, is it Cowlitz County News? Uncensored, that's doing it internet-wise. Dwayne Smith is reporting for KLTV, and I believe YouTube is what you had indicated before. Previous debates, we've had the reporter from the Daily News, but I don't see anybody this evening for that. But I appreciate all the media coverage for these. It helps get the word out and let people know what is the views of the people that are running for their city. Special thank you, as I always do at the end, for the candidates. It's difficult to put yourself forward for office. It's a challenging process to go through, particularly in modern times, so I appreciate both of you for doing all that. Upcoming debates, next Monday, 7 p.m. here at Canterbury Park. We have Longview City Council position number 6, Chet McKinster and Diane Quast. 7 o'clock Wednesday, September 27th. We have a Longview City Council position number 5, Mary Alice Wallace and Megan Ritchie. And then in October, on October 17th, Tuesday night at 7 p.m., starting at 7 p.m. here, we have Longview City Council position number 7, Amber Rosewood and Steve Moon, followed at 8 o'clock by Longview School Board position number 1, CJ Nickerson and Joe Hobson. So hope to see you back for there. I also like to ask for any input from anybody. You had a good suggestion from the last one, which I intend to talk to Ken about, of a possible change, a slight change in our format a little bit. But appreciate any feedback coming through that. Thank you for coming. Thank you to candidates. Appreciate you doing that.